Let's be honest, coming up with podcast episode ideas can be exciting. It could also be stressful, overwhelming, exhausting, frustrating. But if you're starting a new podcast like I am right now, you're going to want to come up with your first 10 episode titles, or at least topics, as the very second thing you do as you are planning your show. By the way, for the first thing you do, make sure to go back to the video the day before this in this series. So why is it important to come up with your first 10 episode topics or titles before you do almost anything else? First of all, so that you know your show will be sustainable. If you can't come up with 10 topics or titles, you probably need to rethink the idea for the show, because hopefully it's going to go many, many episodes and serve you really, really well. Second reason to do this brainstorming of topics and titles up front, because if you don't, then you may end up releasing the wrong show. And I'm going to use Hollywood as an example for this. Hollywood famously will change the name of a movie 4 to 5 times until you at least know what your first 10 episodes are going to be about. Roughly, it's hard to really know what your show is going to be about. So that's why we want to do this so early in the process. And the third reason to do this really early on in the process is to get an overall idea for your show. Your list of episode topics is really what sets the tone of your show. So once you do that, then finalizing your title, writing your description, scripting an intro, it all becomes way easier. But more importantly, the result will be way, way better because you'll have a better understanding of what your show is going to be. So let's come up with our first 10 at least topics and or titles for our new podcast using these 5 steps. I don't know why I came over here and thought I was going to be one of those cool whiteboard people. I'm not. I'm going to go get nerdy in my spreadsheet. I like to have 2 columns, one for topic and one for title. That way, if I think of a title first or I think of a title as I'm going, then I can drop that in there. So the first step is just to do a brain dump. Just write down anything and everything you've been thinking about, anything that pops into your head. If you're struggling with that at all, if this is for your business, think about the problem that your business solves and focus on pieces of that, because nothing will get somebody's attention faster than talking about a problem they have. Well, except maybe yelling their name, but you get the idea. All right, I already messed this up, and I want to make sure you don't mess it up. As you're doing this, you really have to approach it. It's just write everything down. There's no bad ideas. Odds are, because I'm filming this for you watching, I was probably more self-conscious than I should have been. Now, once you've gotten everything out of your brain, everything down, even if you already have 10, take advantage of ChatGPT or your favorite AI tool of choice. So start by telling about your audience and your show, then put it in there. Let ChatGPT do its thing. So I said podcast to help online entrepreneurs. Hold up. Let's just pause for a second. I want you to know that I took all the notes for you. Everything we're covering in these videos to build your podcast, you can find it in our Profitable Podcasters Playbook, including the ChatGPT prompt that I use to generate my episode titles. So if you want to download that, get the link in the description right now. All right, time to get this awful freeze frame off of my face. Let ChatGPT do its thing. As I scroll through these, I'm seeing what I usually see with this kind of thing on ChatGPT is that it doesn't really fully understand my vision for the podcast. And that's my fault. I did not give it much to go on. So consider refining by telling it more if it's not quite right. So we did a brain dump of all of our topics and title ideas. Then we used ChatGPT or another AI tool to come up with some more. The third thing is categorize your stuff into categories or content pillars. Now I wait to do this until after I've done my brain dump and use a little bit of ChatGPT because I want to look for patterns there. So I've gone through all my ideas here and I've looked for themes that I could do over and over again, places where they tie together. And I came up with mindset, high leverage assets. That's going to be a big part of what this is about. High leverage assets, meaning podcasts, YouTube channels, webinars, memberships, things that the return on your investment is much higher than what you put into it. And then time. And then tools is the other one that I've kind of come up with. So that's where I am for right now. Your categories, your pillars, they're not forever, but it's really good to have an idea up front what your show is going to be about and make sure you're not focusing on 85 different things. Now, once you've got your categories, look at those and see if any more ideas come out of that. That's the last part of step 3. Step 4 is start looking at your ideas and see if you can break any of them down into more than one episode. The first time I did this earlier today, my whole vision, I think, for the entire podcast, I was picturing in episode 1 when truly it could be spread among multiple episodes. In step 5, choose what your first 3 episodes are going to be if you have a new show. And I'll tell you how here in just a second. But I'm going to release 3 episodes the first day this show comes out, which is October 14th. I get nervous every time I say that. If it's after October 14th, 2024, it's already out. You should be able to find it here on the YouTube channel, or I didn't get there. I want to release 3 episodes episodes at once, but whether you do that or not, the goal is to have 3 episodes that are very representative of your entire show. Because rarely is someone going to listen to one episode and go, oh my gosh, I want all the episodes. I want to buy your highest price thing. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. But with 3 episodes, imagine you go to discover a new podcast. There's 3 episodes there. Well, first of all, if there's 3 different topics, there's a much better chance that one of them is going to appeal to you, right? And then the second reason is if you love that one, you'll probably go ahead and listen to the next one and then the next one. And we always like to say bingers are buyers. So this is a really incredible opportunity to turn somebody into a raving fan literally the day your show comes out. So what do you put in the first 3 episodes? If you have an episode explaining the show or the premise of the show, which not all podcasts need, in fact, I think most don't, but mine is going to this time, then that's going to obviously be episode 1. And then other than that, I would look for the episodes that solve the biggest problems that your ideal client, customer, member, or student is facing right now. That's the thing that you want to get out there and in front of people. What questions do you have about launching a podcast? Let me know in the comments and I'll make a video to answer them. Our next step is not one that podcasters tend to skip, but they tend to wait too long until they think about it and do it. And it's in the video on the screen right now. And if you're an entrepreneur like I am, this could literally be the difference between your show succeeding and failing. So don't skip it.